All right. Well, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Hello. So this is the 3rd of February, Black History Month. I am Keisha. I am one half of the podcast show, The Regal Mindset. And I've got my co host, Joy. If you'll go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll move on to our guests and introduce them.
Absolutely. It's funny how I always say absolutely, but yes, I am Joy, the coach. I am your millionaire, your mystic, and mindset transformer, and I am excited for what we're about to share tonight. That's all I got for you.
Absolutely. Hey, I appreciate that. So, Derek,
Yes,
you
yes.
have been gracious enough to join us tonight. I want to say first, thank you. But go ahead and get a short introductory of yourself and your credentials and how we can find you.
Okay, so my name is Derek Jones, aka Coach Derek, as they call me on TikTok. I'm a certified relationship coach, a certified emotional intelligence coach, and I help people. The short answer is I help people heal first, so that they can reveal the new version of them to show up better in dating, to show up better in their existing relationship and or their marriage or whatever the thing people. It's like 2,000 things now, whatever that thing you want to call it, to show up better there. But I'm really a foundation person. Like if we fix the foundation, we can work up instead of just working at the top. So my specialty now, like over the past year, I kind of moved more into the healing aspect of it. So
Mhm.
I train you not just to say you need to heal first. I show you how to heal. Once I show you how to heal and then you start to build self-awareness, then we can talk about boundaries. We can talk about what questions you're gonna ask on the day. All of these, I don't know how to find the right person. Well, first we got to find out if you the right you first. So I work there before I start working at all the. I'll be like, hold on, we're not gonna give you those questions yet.
Right,
Let,
right.
let's see what your patterns look like first, and then we can talk about the stuff you worried about. And normally when you start from the base, all of the other stuff just it falls, it's all up under that umbrella. So that's kind of what I specialize in now, is more healing, and then we could talk about boundaries, conflict management, all these type of things that are kind of like buzzwords. But you can't go out on a date with good questions and you have abandonment issues or
Ooh.
trust issues or rejection issues. It doesn't. So once I started looking at, because it's the engineering me, I'm like, wait, I'm helping them fix the top layer, but there's more. There's meat under there. So I'm brave enough to delve into that healing space. A lot of coaches won't go there because it's highly emotional and traumatic and whatever. But and I'm not a therapist, but I touch on these topics so that you can get a better understanding of yourself. And some people I push to therapy. Other people, once they know what it is, they go. So that's kind of what I do, is I kind of help you get to that space. So that's what I do.
So something you just said,
Hmm.
a lot of people need to know the difference when they need to go to therapy and when they
Hmm.
need coaching.
Yeah.
Right. And just real quick, because you made that a part of your introduction,
Hmm.
give us maybe two things that you would say, hey, you need to go to therapy someday if you're talking with somebody, and give us the other two things you say, hey, you can deal with coaching. Could you do
So
that for me?
so broadly, therapists work backwards. They help you. They help diagnose like trauma and things that may have happened in your childhood or your adulthood or whatever. They help you diagnose those things and hopefully help to help you manage them better.
Mhm.
Um, so a lot of times people have gone through a lot of different types of abuse that I can't, if you've been physically abused, I can't, it's hard. I can't touch, like, you need to go talk to somebody who can manage you through that process better. But as a coach, I take you from today and you say, these are my goals. I help you get to your goals. But sometimes we have to tiptoe and say, this thing that you're going through might have something to do with childhood trauma. Here's a list of what the possible types of traumas are, but I can't help diagnose. I can't do all of that.
That's it.
I can give you, and then you can be like, oh, I have abandonment issues. Okay, Derek, show me how somebody with abandonment issues can get from here to here, and then I can do that. But if you need to go dig deep and maybe some diagnoses in there, I'm gonna say you may need to go over. I'm not gonna just take your money like we do.
Mm.
You got to go get that, because I have to be, I have to honor, like, especially like when I go live, I always tell people I don't let other people come up on my screen to trigger you. Let me do it.
Mm,
If I trigger you, I know
Right.
how to push you where you need to go, because they always want to come up and do all this talking. And I'm like, there's people in the comments that been through things. So
yeah.
Right.
I try to be trauma informed and try to make sure that I give people safe spaces. So I'm very aware of this. So and I'm an empath too. So like when people come and they try to do sessions with me and they start dumping all this stuff, I had to wait. That I can't. That's too much.
Right. And I
Um,
think by us both being coaches, we understand that. And a lot of
yeah,
people think it's another form of rejection when we
yeah,
say, we
yeah,
can't help you because I'm not here, like, like you said, to deal with your past.
yeah,
I'm not ready to
yeah.
dig into
It's a
your
lot.
trauma. If you come to me and you're saying, this is where I'm at and I'm ready to move forward, we're going to help you with every skill to move
Right,
forward. But
right.
like you said, from today, I don't
From
care
today.
what happened to you when you was 5.
Yep, yep,
I
yep,
honestly don't. It's not my job to deal with that,
yep.
and I can't charge your insurance. So
Yeah,
it's not my job
yeah.
to deal with
And
it.
a lot of people who, well, I won't say a lot, but a few people who have gone through my coaching and they've kind of unearthed some things, have said out their mouth, your coaching has let me know that I need to go to therapy. Like I've learned some
Exactly.
things. So let me go find a therapy. Like, so that's a win for me. Like
Hmm.
if you need to go over there first, maybe you come back, maybe you don't, but at least you're getting help. That's all I want. Like I'm not,
That's most important. Get the
yeah,
Yeah,
help.
absolutely.
Yeah, get the help. And I think, and a lot of people that come into a coaching space need to understand we're not being mean,
yeah,
but we're goers, we're movers. We're here to
yeah,
push you along, not here to babysit you
yep,
and coddle you to the next step. That's not our
yeah.
energy. That's not what we can do. And you can't get mad when somebody say they can't help you.
Yeah, I tell them that up front. Like it's part of my. I tell them, well, we can talk about this later because I know you have topics. But I always tell people there's certain things when you come into coaching that you're going to have to qualify to get from me. Like
Right.
you just don't come in and say I need a one-on-one. Hold on. You might get a one-on-one. I can give you a
Hmm.
discovery call and I can figure out what you need because there may be a workshop for that. There may be
Right.
an ebook I have for that before you even think about that. We're not going to just let you because this is just time of doing this. People will come in hot and they want to talk for 2-3 hours about something
Can't
that
do
happened
it.
to them through their life. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, breathe. This is too much. They'll do it in the inbox. It'd be like this long. And I'm like, wait, wait, that's a lot of stuff.
Right.
When they normally type like this, a lot of times they need to go to a therapist. It's a lot, it'd be a lot of stuff in there. And I'm like, whoa. So a lot of times I'm like, you're not going to come in here to tell me or get what you think you want to have or how you think it should go. I'm gonna give you what you need. You might not like it, but I'm gonna give you what you need.
And
If you
accountability.
don't want it, you don't want it. But I'm not going to pacify you and you're gonna tell me how to coach you. We're
Right.
not doing that.
And we have to hold you accountable. We
Yeah,
have to hold you accountable. And if you don't like that accountability,
yeah,
coaching is not for you. So
yep.
thank you for that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Hey, that's great. Great introductory. Great information to have for people who aren't aware of, what an actual coach is capable of doing and the direction in which they may need to go and all the possibilities that go along with that. So I appreciate you both elaborating on that so that the people who are listening to us can at least be
Mhm.
mindful of that.
Mhm.
So Derek, while we got you, again, on your platform, there's a lot of things that you discuss and a lot of boot camps or workshops that you
Mhm.
offer. One of the things that I know that our listeners are going to want to better understand and get kind of in their tool belt is an effective way to communicate with their partner, with their loved one, their husband, spouse, whatever.
So just generally speaking,
Yeah, just give us some effective communication tools or examples or something that we can kind of use in our own day-to-day relationships.
okay. So I would say because I'm the reason why I pause is because it's it's a whole bunch of them.
Mhm.
So I would say broadly speaking, I always again the way that I coach and the way that I speak comes from a foundation, right? So if you don't have like people always say you need to be effective communicators, you need to comprehend and all these other kind of things. But what we forget sometimes is that was that me? I heard an echo. Okay, okay. So a lot of times people will forget that there's two different people, two different life experiences that you're going to have to learn how to adapt to the change, right? So
Right.
the first thing that I would always tell people is you're going to have to understand self first, right? I always start from the foundation. Understand how you communicate, because this is one of the questions that I would ask if I was out there dating. How do you show up during conflict? Do you have a temper? Do you yell when you get mad? Right? All of these things are qualifying to see how I can fit and how we can figure out how to, because I'm not gonna leave you. I'm already in love, right? I already like you. So we gonna figure out how we gonna move. We can do this early, right? So whether you in the beginning stages of a relationship or in the middle of the relationship, I call them rules of engagement. You're gonna have to figure out how that push and pull is going to work and how you don't hurt each other in the process. This is something that a lot of us take for granted because we don't advocate for ourselves when we're in love. We just want it to get better and feel better. So the biggest thing for me, whether you're married or in a long-term relationship, is the ability to adapt. This is why they always say relationships are hard and marriage is hard, because you got to work on you too. You got to figure out how you, that's part of the work too. People don't talk about that. Oh, it's hard because I got to figure out how to deal with this person. No, you got to figure out how you got to adapt to the thing that you committed yourself to. So now we got to look at the rules of engagement. Could be things like, I need to go take 30 minutes when I get mad. The other person might be a person that needs it right now, solve it right now. Well, these two people going to always fight. If they don't talk about what they need, they're going to always fight. And so when you have the dialogue in the middle, whether you're in the beginning, middle, whatever in a relationship, at some point you're going to have to talk about this, or it's going to always be this way. The person who wants it fixed right now, they got to breathe and step back for a little bit. The person who needs to leave needs to understand that I need you to come closer to me. So at some point, if we both understand, maybe you start to need less time, and maybe I need to go just chill. I might be in the corner shaking. Like I need, but I know she need it. And she knows she can't stay away too long or I'm going to go crazy. So sometimes if we talk about this, we can find a middle ground and have some respect, because when you do things that hurt, even something as simple as you leaving the room could hurt me.
Mm.
But I'm never going to tell you that. I might even not even know to call it that, but I'm going to hold on to the fact that I felt like you left me, like you didn't want to work on it. Then we kiss and make up, and then we go to the next one. I'm still holding on to the first one. And then
Mm.
it just stacks up. Because I'm never going to say it hurt my feelings. I'm not going to say it hurt me because you left and you didn't want to work it out. No, it wasn't that they didn't want to work it out. They're a type of person that needs to breathe so they don't come back in and say something they don't mean. But a person who needs it right now, they don't care about that. They where you going? They
Yeah.
probably chase you. They probably chase you while you're walking away because they want it now. So these are so the umbrella over all of this is, when you understand what type of communicator you are and you get
Mm.
into a relationship, it's your job to find out what type of communicator they are. And then y'all meet in the middle and
Mm-hmm.
you discuss how you show up and how we're not going to hurt each other. I don't like people who yell. So if you're a yeller, you're going to know that that's going to trigger me. Let's talk about this. How do we mitigate that a little bit so that when okay, you need 30 minutes. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to get you to 30 minutes because I know that's who you are. But if you just going through the motions, that 30 minutes is it's going to drive you nuts. You're going to take it you're going to be like, is it me? Because nobody's talking.
Right.
And you know, I'm 100% on board with that because I feel a lot of us don't know ourselves enough to know one, our own love languages, how
Yep.
we
Mm.
speak them and how we receive them,
Yep.
Mm.
how we communicate, how we want to be communicated to,
Yep.
because all of that is different.
Yeah.
Like, some people may think shutting down is a way of communicating because, "Oh, I'm just trying to get myself together. I don't want to
Yeah.
say nothing I don't mean." Well, if it's in your heart, it's gonna you saying it, whether
Yeah.
whether you believe it or
Yeah.
not. And I
Yeah.
think to me that comes with a level of growth, a level of maturity,
Yeah.
because a lot I won't say a lot because I don't know the statistics of it, but a great number of people come from broken
Mm-hmm.
situations, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's family, whether it's relationships, whether it's childhood, whether whatever it is, to
Yep.
where they don't know how to effectively communicate.
Yeah.
And not only is it happening in relationships, it happening on the job,
Yeah.
because the way you
Yeah.
communicate at home is the way you communicate at work.
Yep.
And and they don't know how to get a handle on that. So with those tools of effective communication, because to me, I can say, well, I communicate effectively, but then I might have to ask somebody, well, do you understand
That's
what
it.
I how
That's
I
it.
say, because if you have to come back and question it, maybe I'm not communicating the way I think I'm communicating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to be a big enough person to say, you know what, let's have a moment, whether it's with a friend, whether it's with a cousin, whether it's with a family member, or whether it's with your person. Am I communicating correctly that we understand each other?
Yeah. And just to add on to that, a lot of us think that we're great communicators, but we are great communicators in whatever environments that we believe that we've been in before I met you. Once I meet you, what you should do is assume that you got to start from scratch and learn each other. If you don't do that, your effective communication could be the thing. Your version of it could be the thing that destroys your relationship, because you're this is a it's a whole thing. Like you when you meet a new person, you meet a new person. That means
Yeah.
you're gonna have to peel back all those layers and say, hey, I'm willing to receive and do that push and pull thing to understand how you work. So I could be a great communicator in this relationship versus at work. You could be a whole
Right,
motivational speaker, but be a horrible at relationships. You could be
right.
a communication coach and be horrible at home because you still got all that stuff that you done been through.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to really be willing to not change who you are, but adapt to the things that need to be done in order to make your relationship work. Because I always harp on this hurting each other with words, with actions. We hold on to that stuff
Forever.
long, and it turns into resentment, because if I tell her how I feel, then she's going to react, or he's going to react negatively. So let me
Yeah.
just shut up and keep the peace. But you're miserable on the inside. And then you on
Yes.
year one, year two. Now you hanging out later. Now you sitting in the parking lot before you come in the house, because you like, well, what's gonna happen if I go in there? Because I can't tell that those last 30 arguments hurt my feelings. So let me just go in there and avoid the conflict so everything will feel quiet. Well, it's not really quiet in here. So you're still miserable.
Exactly.
And that's
Can't
and that's the
sleep.
rest of your life. If you decide to stay there, you're gonna now you
Right,
got to find ways to cope with it. What you gonna do now? You gonna use
right,
another person? You gonna go drink some more? You gonna have to figure out how to relieve the pressure. And it's not going to be with the person that you married to or in a relationship, because they in your mind are the source of it. So you're not going to go to them. You got to find another way to do it. It's
right.
human to want to need to cope. But since we know these things, well, a lot of people don't. That's why I decided to coach, because I'm like, wait, you got to move a little bit this way. Okay, now go. So it's the hurt, and I speak passionately about this because this is my story. Like relationship
Hmm.
after relationship, I was a conflict avoider. Okay, so what makes her mad? Okay, let me fix that before she come in the door. Okay, cool. Okay, now I'm good. But should I have to do all of that math?
Right, right.
Right. No, I agree.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Or
Yeah.
you can make a decision to say, if this is the person that I love, this is how it. Like, why are we afraid to talk to the people that we say we love? Like it's crazy, right? But
Yeah.
it builds up over time. It builds up over time, and once it gets
Hmm.
to a certain point, you don't even want to try anymore. But you're not
Exactly.
leaving. So it's like it's a whole dysfunctional mess.
I
No,
think a
you're
lot of us have
absolutely
been there.
correct.
Yeah, I agree. I can speak for myself. I know I've been there, and I really appreciate the fact that you brought up, the getting to know yourself, because I know at times in life, and I'm sure our audience can speak for it as well, that although we think that, like you said, we are great communicators, we really haven't taken out the time to really get to know our partner, and we're doing them a disservice, because there's things that they can bring to, our life in terms of how we communicate or communicating better.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
And,
it's
and
great. I'm
go ahead.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, I was saying, because like you said, it's that's one of those personal experiences. And
Yeah.
I'm a Cancer, so we communicate. Everybody think we just the most emotional. We're more emotionally mature than people give us credit for. However, we communicate through action. If I love you, that's what I'm expecting. I might not expect you to match gift for gift, but I expect you to match that love energy. And a lot of people
Yeah.
don't understand that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until late in my relationship, I'm talking about when we're married at this point, where I'm a gift giver. That's the way I show love. If I buy you a gift, I love you. I'd rather spend $1,000 on a gift than give you $1,000. I would rather, that's just me. I'd rather spend $1,000 on a gift than give you $100. That's just the way I am. But then it took my wife a while to realize I'm showing you love, because when she was like, "Well, you don't tell me you love me," I'm like, "I just bought you XYZ."
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Mm.
I'm not materialistic. It wasn't about materialistic. I thought about that. I thought about it. I remember what color you like. I remember how you liked it. I remember how you wanted it to be presented to you. And it took a while to say, I didn't know all this time. And when you say, "Well, I didn't ask you for it," that was a hurt to me, because I'm like,
Yep.
I know you didn't ask, but you
Yeah.
asked for it.
Yep.
I'm a
Yeah.
dream maker. Like, that's how I was in a relationship. And it took me a while to realize, to say, okay, well, that's how you show love. But you don't want nobody to show you love like that. My love language is acts of service. You can come
Mhm.
outside and sit on the stairs with a cup of water while I'm cutting the grass. To me, you're showing love.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we had to get through that. But I had
Yeah.
to realize that's how I communicate as well. I want you to match my deed, my intent. And because it was so nonverbal, a lot of people, even at work, I'm like, "Well, I wouldn't do you like that." And they were saying, "Well, I didn't know that's how you were doing." Okay,
Yep.
well, still, I wouldn't do you like that. I'm not a person to throw you up under the bus. But you threw me up under the bus, so now I got to run you over with all 15 wheels in the back. Because that's how that's another part
Yeah.
of my language.
Yeah.
So like you said, you have to know how you speak it and how you
Yeah.
communicate. And I didn't realize until late in life, like,
Yeah.
you're really not saying nothing out your mouth.
Yeah. It's tough because we weren't taught these things, right? We
Right.
weren't
Yeah.
taught, and
Exactly.
so it's hard to be accountable to something that you never saw or knew. But
Mm-hmm.
it unless your foundation of your relationship is strong, you're gonna go through some stuff that you probably can't come back from,
Right.
that can't be fixed because of that miscommunication. Like I always say on
Mm.
my show, you could take two good people that can't communicate well and they will destroy each other. It doesn't mean
Destroy.
one was evil and one was good. Certain things hurt, but we don't know it because you never told us, right? So,
Right.
and also people may not even know what those triggers mean or what they are. And so that's another reason why, like, when I realized this about my own life, I was like, there's got to
Mm.
be other people out here like me. That's what made
Mm-hmm.
me become a coach, because I was like, what if people knew before they got married or before they started being serious to ask questions about conflict and what happens in conflict, and how can we create a space where we don't do things that will destroy this relationship? What if we could have that in like month 3 or month
Mm.
4? And
Right.
then because in the honeymoon stage, everything cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're human. So we can sit down and say, one day there's going to be an argument. We don't know
Yeah.
when it's going to happen. When it does, what are we going to do before it even happens? So when it
Yeah.
happens, you can be like I always tell, and I know that I'm trying not to step on the other stuff you said. Um, and trying to stay on bullet
Well,
point number
go
one.
into it. Go.
You can create environments and different tools in order for you to help each other not hurt. Like I always give them this example. Like you could take something like this bottle of water and say, when the argument happens, whoever's holding the bottle of water, the other person got to shut up. You can't say
Mm-hmm.
nothing. You got to wait until I'm finished. When I'm finished, we're gonna figure out if you understood what I said, and then I'm gonna pass you the bottle, and I got to shut up. Some people
Mm-hmm.
need stuff like that because
Oh
because
yeah.
they
That's
so
good.
unhinged. They need something that's going to identify them to stop.
Right.
Because as soon as I'm sharing how I feel and you jump in, that means you feel like what you got to say is more important than what I'm saying. Now the whole thing gets destroyed, and you
Right.
Mm.
didn't even hear me. I could be wrong. Just hear me out, right? If we don't do that, then you kind of I feel disrespected now. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be defensive now. Like what? Oh, now we fighting over nothing.
Exactly. Now, sometimes it be over something, but I get what you're
Sometimes it
saying.
does, but a lot of times not the problem, but how it affects me emotionally that you jumped in.
Right.
Just that one thing could just set me on a whole. Now I'm not even thinking about the problem no more. I'm mad because you stopped me from talking. It'd be stuff like that that
Mm-hmm.
spirals everything. It makes the whole thing blow up. And it's like how do we manage that space, right? How do we
Mm.
manage how we respect each other through this dialogue,
Right.
right? You could be mad, I could be mad, we both could be mad, but I know I'm not leaving. So now what do we do? So a lot of these things we could talk about, even if you've been through some things, it doesn't mean that you're not above correction. You're just going
Mm-hmm.
to need some tools to put in place. Because a lot of times people are like, just go lock yourselves in a room and figure it out. Not if we dysfunctional.
No,
We got,
no.
we got
That room gonna be
it's
toe
not.
up.
I hear that so many times. They're like, y'all just lock yourselves in a room and just figure it out and come out happy. And I'm like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work
And I,
that way.
it, but people have to realize you have a right to feel how you
Yeah.
feel,
Yeah,
and it's okay. But
yeah,
then also understand I got a right to reject how what you're giving me too,
yeah,
because I think a lot of things that I've experienced, even in my own relationship, and I'll call it the way it is. That's self-inflicted insecurity because I didn't give that to you.
hmm,
So
Mm.
you're coming at me angry and mad because you thought that I said something that I didn't say
yeah.
because it was about to sound like something that happened to you years ago. That's not
That
my fault.
that.
You need to own that one.
Yep.
And
Mm.
and that hurts people when they're like, well, I just want you to, I'm not owning something that's not mine. And my wife will tell you, I don't say I'm sorry because I'm not. Now I will apologize because I mean what I say.
Hmm.
I don't care across the board. I mean, if I said it, I meant it.
Yeah,
I now what I don't want it to do is to hurt you because that was not my intent. Nor am I going to diminish how you felt. Now
yeah,
I will apologize because of the way that it was taken. Because again, it could be your self-inflicted insecurities that
yeah,
one I maybe not have known about, two triggers that we've never experienced before that I didn't
yeah,
even know was there.
yeah,
But you still got to trust what I said. I meant what I said, but I'm
yeah,
never meant to hurt you. And
yeah,
that I will apologize for. But I'll never quick say I'm sorry. And me and my wife had to go through counseling for that because she had to understand I'm not saying I'm sorry because I'm not sorry.
yeah,
I
yeah.
said what I said, but I never meant to hurt you.
Right,
I meant for you to understand where I was coming from.
right, right. And this is a topic that the one of the reasons why I delve into and tap into the healing space and the shadow work and things like that, because the one place where your childhood wounds and your past trauma show up is in arguments,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that's one indicator how you react and get triggered while you arguing with somebody, you yelling, you doing that. Is that because of them or was it already there?
Right.
Is this a pattern for you? Has it shown up in other relationships? Why did that little thing make you go to 10 so quick? That wasn't because I didn't take the trash out. Like there's something else. There's
It's
something else
something.
in there.
Why don't people believe that? Like, and
I
like you
agree.
say, as an empath, it's like you really be like, no, it's more to that. And they be quick to say, no, it's not. No, it's really more than that because that shouldn't have took you to 1,000.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
That shouldn't have
Yes,
took you to 1,000.
it goes
I agree.
deep for a lot of people because it goes into spaces that we haven't looked at or worked on, and we'll just say this is just who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But that was there before you met me, and
Exactly.
I didn't earn that one. I
And
can
it's
I
not
can capture
mine.
all this other stuff, but that right there, like me, if your octave level goes up to a certain point, I can I
Right.
can't do it. And you could be like, well, this is who I know, but I don't have to do. I'm not a kid. Now I'm a little kid again. I'm like, mom, no, it's not my mom. No, we're
Exactly.
not doing. That don't have nothing to do with me. I don't know what that is, but it goes. Y'all know people who go from zero to rage like this.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
You,
Capricorns.
We're
what?
not gonna call no
Capricorns.
sign.
I'm just
We're
saying.
not.
Yeah,
Listen, I'm sure it happens to everybody. But listen, so Derek, to kind of help us navigate that, right? So the
mhm,
moment that we see that happening, what's a good way or a positive way that we can, as the other person, approach that situation and kind of delicately say, hey, what I just saw there reminds me of the little person in you. And
Hmm.
although I don't feel like it belongs to me, how can we deal with that? How do we address that?
Mm.
so it's really so, and I say this tongue in cheek because a lot of people will stand in their ignorance because it's all they
Mm.
know.
Yeah.
So the proper way to do it, and you have to handle it with tact because people have their triggers and their issues, and this is the person you know that they in that space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what most of us don't do is say what you did affected me in a way,
Mm.
right? Especially men. We're
Okay.
not gonna tell you hurt our feelings, right? So
Right.
you might not get this, but you should be able to talk to your partner and say, hey, that exchange we just had, it didn't sit well with me. I'm not sure if it was like that where we had to go to get to the other side, that it triggered me.
Mm.
And then your partner should be like, it did, right? But you got to get to the point where you even can say that it triggered you. You got to get to
Right.
Yeah.
the point where you could even say, I know I was wrong, but why? Like we went somewhere else. So we got to figure out what that is. Like the words that I like to use, if the two people really actually love each other, that exchange, you don't even have to really go into too much detail up front. Is you say things like, that argument that we just had didn't feel good. I know it didn't make you feel good because we both was going back and forth. We
Mm-hmm.
both need to figure out how we don't hurt each other. Now, no one's copping to being hurt. I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you, because you're probably not gonna get that. I want to make sure that the next time, because there's probably gonna be a next time, that we don't hurt each other. How can we both work towards that? Because this
I
was
like that.
ugly. So now you can dissect the argument, and hopefully somewhere in there you can say, "Yeah, I didn't like that." Now you get into the meat of it. But up front, I didn't say I was hurt. The assumption is because it got that high that there was probably some hurt somewhere. That way,
Mm.
nobody feels like, "Oh, you saying that you hurt my feelings." No, 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 no. I'm saying next time we don't want it to go that far. How do we now? Now that we're over the argument and we're in a happy space, because that's when you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to talk about the next time this happens. What are we going to do different? It doesn't matter what the topic is. What are we? Notice I'm using the words we. I'm not saying I got to work
Yeah.
on me. What are we going to do collectively to make sure this doesn't happen again? And then I want you, this is a non judgmental conversation right now. Let's talk about what happened. I want you to tell me how you felt when I said this to you. I want you to tell me how you felt when I said this
Mm-hmm.
to you. We're parsing it out now. Now, if I am not a person who likes to share that, I should feel safer, a little bit safer to say, yeah, I really didn't like it when you raised your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't really feeling that.
So let me throw a little curveball in that.
Uh-huh.
A person comes and say, "You hurt me." Now we're at a calm place, and
Mm-hmm.
they say, "You hurt me when you said XYZ." And the
Mm-hmm.
other person on the receiving end of those words says, will try to justify it, or, "Well,
Mm-hmm.
if you wouldn't have did this."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how do we pivot from that? Because at that point, this hands around neck, and we're shaking each other
Yeah, it's so
aggressively.
this is like the type of people that be like, it wasn't that deep. I don't know why you so sensitive. Right? That's
Gaslighting.
that's a trigger for me, right?
Oh
The
God, are
the
you a
hope.
Cancer? Because listen,
No,
we're
no, I'm a
together.
Sagittarius, but look,
We're close enough.
here's so that's why I said under the condition that this person really cares about you, right? You create this environment where you say non-judgment. We're going to talk through this, and we're just going to hear each other out. Now, if your partner can't do that, then you got some other discussions to have. Like they can't just sit and y'all loving, I love you, you love me, we not going nowhere. Now we gonna create a second argument because you just can't sit and listen to me. Then we got a
Mm-hmm.
whole then we got some other stuff going on there. You may need to get a
A
coach or
counselor.
something, or a counselor or something, because
Right.
we can't even, when we're in, this is the thing. If you still pissed off at me, then we might not be able to do this. But now we over here, we done went to brunch and we chilling and we having fun. Baby, when we get back home, I need like 10 minutes. We got to talk about something. If they can't do that, and that's your wife, your husband, your whatever, wow, like we got work to do if they
Right.
Yeah.
can't do that. Because what happens is if they can't do it, then you're gonna go back in your turtle shell. Now you're gonna change who you are to make the relationship look normal. Now
Right.
what? Now who do you have to become to make the relationship work? Now you got to pander and cater to what's gonna piss them off because it hurts you still 2 years later, and you like, I I'm happy. You're not happy.
Exactly.
So it's tough.
Oh
It's
no.
tough. There's people out here, like I said, that's my trigger when I do get to a vulnerable space, and you be like, I don't know why you so sensitive. I don't why it ain't that deep. It's not that deep to you, but you're not even hearing what I'm saying. Like I'm not you.
Exactly.
If I had like a tally, like a dollar every time I had to sit in my life, I'm not you. I'd be rich right now. I'm not you. I won't ever react the way you react. So
Right.
stop assuming that I will and let me be me, let you be you, and let's work this out in the middle. I'm not going to see it your way, probably because I'm a whole grown person. I'm different. So I'll land my plane.
Yeah, yeah. No, listen, we all up in some folks' relationships right now. They just need to come to the first row of the pulpit and, and just have at it. Like, so Joy, let me ask you this. I know that you mentioned growth earlier, and maturity. So all of us, have been in relationships at some point and in some place, and how we relate to people now or at this phase in life certainly doesn't look like what it used to 5 years ago, 10 years ago. How, for both of you, how do we get to a place where we can build trust as a foundation with our partners so that they can feel comfortable to open up to us about those triggers, those things that they're afraid to talk about, all of those kinds of things? How do we build that trust or that little foundation to get to a healthy place?
Did you want to go first, Derek?
I can. I can.
Well, since you're the professional, I'll start and then let you professionalize it.
Okay.
I
Okay.
love it.
So I can say in time past, the way that I would deal with that is when they're having a moment, I, because I wasn't good at it, but
Mm,
I let them have that moment.
mm,
And it's like you can have whatever emotion, long as you're not hitting me, long as you're not saying anything that we can't come back from, because I'm a cancer word stick. I don't care what you say. You can't tell me something horrible. And because you was mad, that justified you saying what you said. I'm holding on to that forever. Now I don't stay mad long, but I stay hurt forever.
Hmm.
mm,
So while you're so I've learned not to take that moment from them, let them get it out. And then if it's to the point where I gotta take their hand and just sit there and let them get it out.
mhm,
Because I want to
Yeah.
create a safe space to where you can be free to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that. And I learned it and I'm continually to learn it because it's still a growing process because every now and again I want to say something and get in there. But then because I'm extremely forgetful.
mhm,
So in the moment, if I don't write it down or try to make some note, I don't forget it. And then next thing you know, I'm sitting there like, what it was something I was supposed to come back to you and say? And I don't. So in my particular situation, I had to be like, all right, you can have everything you need to. And we made that a part of our discussion because we
okay,
bumped heads so much. And then it was like, all right, I got to let you have it. We're not going to deal with what happened years ago, months ago, weeks ago. If it's something that affected us right then, we're going to deal with that situation right
Yeah.
then. Because the older it get, the stale
Yep.
it get. And one, I might not even be feeling that no more because I'm a move on person. Let me tell you, my wife gets so mad and I be eating, I will go to sleep on you because I'm over it and you still mad and you starving while I'm asleep
Yeah.
peacefully. My mouth open and I don't flip flop three ways and you still mad looking at me and you don't plan my whole funeral in 5 minutes while I'm asleep. That's not my problem anymore because you didn't want to deal with it when we needed to deal with it.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's where you as a partner, if you really love somebody, you're willing to love them through those moments as long as they're willing to fight fair and play fair.
yeah,
When they stop fighting fair and when they get into argument and they start going deep, and it's like to me, we can't be there. And that's a deal breaker. That's a it's time for us to go our separate ways because you're not willing to play fair. I'm not going to purposely bring up something that could destroy you in 5 minutes when I know I can.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we're having an issue. Let's deal with the issue. And to me, that's the safest way that I can do is like sit with you. All right, let's get through this. But if you don't want to play fair, the ring come off. It is what it is. We had a good run, and you have to be okay with that good run.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna stay in it. I'm too mature and too old now to feel like I have to deal with it because I don't. And it may hurt people's feelings when we see other people separate, but they got to be okay with that separation. Everybody ain't meant to be together forever.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm not trying to bring up nobody's business because we don't know their business. But when Nene Leaks went publicly and they divorced, they got back together when they was able to deal. And sometimes people go through that, and it's got to be okay.
Yeah.
That's my perspective. What you say,
Yeah.
Mr. Dr. Derek?
Okay. Re-ask the question again.
So because we don't relate to people how we used to in the past, so there's some maturity and there's some growth there.
Mhm.
How do we get to a place where we can build trust with our partner or our loved one, or that foundation, so that they can feel comfortable, or as Joy said, create a safe space so that they can share
Mhm.
those things that are triggers for them, how they would prefer to be, to communicate those kinds of things. How do we get to that place?
So when you say trust, right?
Right.
What I always tell people is there's a sixth love language called safety, right?
Okay.
So when a person feels safe, right, then you open up a door to trust because that safety comes with consistency. That safety comes with a lot of things to make you feel secure, right? They looking out for
Mhm.
you emotionally and all these other types of things, right? It's all up under that umbrella, right? A lot of people will put safety, if that was part of the love language list, as number one before they get to the
Mm,
rest of the stuff, right?
yeah.
So now when you and it's another thing that I'm going to add in here too, when you can consistently make someone feel safe, then they almost kind of don't have any reason not to trust you, right? So now when you enter in this other thing that I call truth, right? Because up under that safety, you don't want a liar, right? Somebody doesn't feel safe to her point. They don't feel safe talking to you about stuff. You have to ask yourself, and both people in a relationship have to ask themselves this question: have I contributed to creating an environment for truth? Right?
Mm,
This is something that we almost kind of take for granted, right? Because people will give you these little lies just to not upset you, right? Because of how you react, because the environment isn't safe. So they're going to
okay.
tell you what you need to hear so that you can shut up. And I always tell people, when you become a person where your one mission is to make them shut up, you got a problem because now you can't talk,
Mm,
right? I always talk about people who I have a track record. I always use this trash thing because for whatever reason, people are just taking the trash thing. It's just, if I take the trash out 100 times and I miss it once or twice, but I got a track record of doing it on time, you come in hot, and I'm like, my bad, and they're like, you never take the trash out. So now I might get defensive, I might engage you, or I might be like, you know what, let me just take it out. Now it's not about the trash. It's about you shutting up and leaving me the hell alone. Right?
mm,
When I become that person and I have to keep becoming that person, I got to change into something different. And we ain't gonna never be the same over the trash. Because now I'm not trying to talk to you about nothing else. Because a certain tone came with that.
mm.
It's the little boy, the little girl. Like ho, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take it out. Now, you good? You need anything else? Okay, cool. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Right? When you start doing that,
Yes.
y'all gonna go to a different place. So I don't feel safe to
Mm,
talk to you. Because now when I make different moves doing other things, I'm gonna remember how that felt. Should I
mhm.
tell her this? You know what? Um, I went out to the club with the fellas. Well, how was your night? We was just chilling. We was just standing on the wall all night. It's not true, right? But I know if I told you that we had fun, Man, this old lady, she's about 75. She tried to talk to me. Oh, so you letting a lady talk to you? Okay, so the next time you ask me about the club, I'm gonna tell you it was boring as hell. I just lied to you. I don't even feel
Gotcha.
comfortable telling you what happened, even in jokes. You can't like so once you start getting into the all right, let me just tell her what she want to hear or he want to hear. Okay, cool. Now you avoiding any type of conflict so you can feel comfortable for yourself. So it's two people at fault here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the steam that came off of the person that was yelling, but now it's my fault because I didn't advocate for myself. I didn't tell you how it made me feel so that we can work on it. So now we both fighting and we both kind of have a fault in this. Because the
Yeah.
person who avoids the conflict has a fault in it too, because they don't feel safe to talk. So the umbrella is are you creating an environment for truth and safety so that the overall safety gets covered within that too. So now moving forward, if I feel safe in dialogue, if I feel safe emotionally and all of this safety is there, I trust the hell out of you because you got me. But if any of those things are missing, there's a deficit in the safety. So I might not trust you with sir. I might trust you to take the trash out, but I don't trust you to give me a safe space when I come home stressed from work. I'm
Yeah.
not coming to you to do that. I'm gonna go to the bar. I'm not coming to you to do that. I'm gonna talk to my work wife. Right. Oh, I don't have one of those,
Oh,
y'all.
you talking
I'm just
good right
saying.
now.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying,
You
people
in
do
No,
there.
it.
no, we get it. We get you find, like you said, if you find where you're able to be yourself,
Yes, that's
and both
that.
parties have to understand that both parties participated in that decision.
Yes,
One, you not being honest for where you are, and the person not allowing you to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are honest, a trigger is going to happen, and you just don't want to deal with it.
yeah, yeah. This,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God.
So,
Been there,
so,
done
so
that.
you, she said something really important. I will fight kicking and screaming to be in an environment where I can be myself with no judgment. So when people is like with men, they're like, oh, he always want to hang out with his boys. There's no judgment there. There's no
Right.
he can be himself. When he comes in the house, he got to turn into a calculus robot. Oh my God, wait, I got to make sure I got to make sure he
Did I say something wrong today? Did I do
Yeah.
something wrong? Did I look wrong? It's
So
a
you're
lot.
like, where can I relieve the pressure? You know what? Let me play these video games so I can relieve myself from the world. And then you be like, why are you playing the video games for 3 hours? Because I need to detach.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It creates a disconnect. That's exactly what it does.
Yeah.
And
People are going to find ways to cope. It's human to cope, but how you cope. They're going to be like, well, all you had to do was talk to your spouse. Well, the spouse is the one that just yelled at me.
right.
I don't know if I can, I don't know if I can
You're
do
so
that.
right.
So I got to find something else. What is it? Is it liquor? And let me go in my little, wherever part of the house and drink so I can feel, let me go to the club. I ain't been to the club in about 2 years, but I got to go now.
Yeah, you
You're
got to
gonna
throw a
find
couple
the
of dollars.
behavior
You got to
always
throw
tells a
them
story.
ones.
The behavior if the mouth don't say it, the behavior definitely going the pattern gonna change. You're gonna be like, wait, you gotta you going what you about to do? You you don't normally hang out with the boys 4 times a week. What's
Right.
the behavior tells a story, but when you actually peel back the layers and you go back in time, it's gonna be that one argument where that person felt like crap and y'all never talked about it.
Mm,
Yeah.
And then it
Well,
turned into 30 of them. And then you like, I wonder why he feel comfortable talking to his coworkers more than me. I
right.
wonder why. I wonder why. Why doesn't the person feel comfortable coming and talking to me? I mean, we should be able to talk about everything, but you can't. Right?
because the strip club got real good wings all of a sudden.
Yeah, yeah. The
Exactly.
strip
Real
club
good
got good weight.
wings
Yeah.
and nobody talking to you. So you just throw a couple of dollars and go to sleep.
Yeah. We will see the end result of those. And for some people, those little hurts that turns into almost a trauma. So
Yeah.
when that person goes out to relieve that stress and that trauma, we see the end result and they be like, oh, they did the thing. And I'm not saying that I'm blaming the other person. I'm saying it's never they woke up and they was like, yeah, let me go ahead and it's normally like a trail. That's why I always tell people they could be two good people.
Yeah.
And you give me enough trauma, I'm gonna be at the bar. And you can be like, oh,
Exactly.
Why is he, what is he doing? And it's like, no, wait. They might not even know where it came from. They just know that it's a lot of pressure and they need to relieve it. How do I do it? I don't know. And some of us come from an environment. Wait, I can't say female, man and woman.
Hmm.
Who, oh, I learned a lot on the internet. Um, the man and the woman come from an environment where they might have been promiscuous in their past, or
Hmm.
they might have been a womanizer or whatever, right? And this has been part of their past. Well, guess what happens to a lot of people who have been like this? There's a dopamine high that comes from doing it.
Hmm.
Then you stop, right? Then you go on the straight and narrow, but then you get trauma and you feel like you under duress and you need to feel better. But what do you know makes you feel better? The only thing that's ever made you feel better. I need to go get that.
Right.
And now it's like they woke up and wanted to do this. No, I stopped. But 2 years of not advocating for myself, right? I did it to myself. I didn't advocate for now I feel like I got to get away from you. And you'd
Oh
be like,
God.
they just wanted to have sex. No, they wanted
Hmm.
relief. The sex was a byproduct of the emotional attachment. They needed to have them conversations. And
Hmm.
then it got there. And then you like, you just wanted to sleep with somebody. No, I didn't. I just like when she told me my tie looked good with my suit, and then it just turned into a thing
It
over
turned into
6 months.
something
Like
else.
that's
That's how
normally
it
how it
started.
I'm not excusing it because some people be like, you're blaming the no, this is human behavior.
Yeah.
You will find a way to cope. It might not be with sex. You might find some, your thing might be, oh, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends longer. I'm gonna play the video game. You're as a human, you have to purge it, or you will drive yourself crazy. So you'll find your brain wants to relieve the trauma at all times. It's gonna find a way to do it one way or
Right.
another. Now, how you do it is where it becomes healthy or not, but you're going to do something, even
Mm.
if it's isolation. Even if you just hide yourself in a room and they're like, where did they go? Why they not talking to nobody? You depressed over the arguments and whatever, the communication, and you don't trust the person no more. We got to rebuild trust. If you isolate yourself, it's still dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not sleeping with nobody, but you're trying to cope with it. Still, you're going to do it. So you have to. So to go back to everything we talked about, if you can create an environment where you have healthy dialogue and you do frequent check-ins with your partner to make sure y'all good and it's honest, then your relationship goes into a totally different direction. Those check-ins matter because we're not the same person 10 years from now. So I
Right.
Yeah.
would need to know where you at. Are you good? Are you cool? How's your mental health? Like I know
Mm.
work has been doing. Do you need me to fill in a place where you may need to rest for a little bit until you get over this little spell or spurt or
Right.
whatever? It took me a long time to be able to share that because I
Mm.
took everything on my back. I was
Hmm.
last on the priority list by any means necessary. Everybody good. Okay, now maybe I'm on the list. Most
Right.
of the time, I wasn't even on the list.
Yeah.
So whenever my wife would come and be like, um, something's off. You good? No, I'm good. And I'm whole depressed. I'm whole stressed out. I'm good.
Right.
I got it. I'm good. I'm got it. She was like, I know there's something wrong. And when she started to, and this is the whole safe space thing, when she started to look at me not giving her the information, she went into, and I credit her for this, she went into a mode of saying, I know something's off. When you're ready to talk, I'm here. You need me to get you some water? You good? I'm gonna let you relax. And then she stopped. Then she would come back
Mm.
again if she saw it again and say, you need me, you need anything. I can tell you sitting down longer than you normally do. Because see, here's the thing. A lot of this communication is nonverbal. The behavior tells you where they're at. You normally don't sit down. I know maybe you want to talk later about it. I got you. And then she went and push. Why won't you tell me how you feel? Because that will make that person shut down even more.
Right.
So now
Right.
she knew to disengage as long as it wasn't nothing like life threatening or anything
Mm.
like crazy. She's like, I know you need some time. You know what? I'm gonna go get dinner and you just sit down. I know you were supposed to, but go ahead and handle that. She did that enough times where I was like, you know what? This stress is killing me right now. I
Right.
can't. Once I started doing that, the whole relationship just changed. a whole trajectory of everything we ever argued about. It was like, look, I'm not in a position to do this today. I'm being honest with you. And then now I give her a fighting chance at helping me. See,
That's good.
before I shut her out
Yeah.
because
Right.
I had to take care of it because I had been in a life cycle my whole life of putting me underneath in hell. Like that's where I was on the list. It wasn't even like last, it was like all the way last. So once I gave her the opportunity to help because she's in the same house with me, why shouldn't she be able to help if something pivots and I can't do? She should be able to fill in. But what if she doesn't have the information? So now
Right.
she has to do what I call fill in the blanks. Now she's in her head like, is it something about me? Is he attracted to me anymore? Why does he need to sit down? Now she got to try to fill it in her because I'm not giving her the information. So now she's
Right.
looking at me like, is it me? Why isn't he talk? What? Why does he need to keep sitting down? Did I do something? Do we do this as humans? So once
Mm-hmm.
you get that information, then you shut that little voice down, and you're like, okay, I got the information now. Let's rock. I got you. And now once you do that, you get closer.
Yeah.
You have to get
But you
closer because now I let you into a space that I never really let anybody have, and I trust you now.
Mm.
right.
See? Safety. And the trust is under there. See how I did that, y'all?
I
So
love
now
Yes.
that.
Beautiful.
Like I'm walking away with so much because
Yeah.
one, we didn't know that that was a level. That's one. Two, it makes so much sense because if you're the person that carries the weight of the house, carries the weight that your partner is not normally privy to.
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the unfair part is because you're not able, sometimes you're not able to put it into words and
mhm,
communicate it to them yet. Then it could be that trust that you don't know,
Yeah.
you don't trust them enough to be able to handle that type of weight.
mhm.
Because if it's crushing you, you know it's going to smother the hell out of
Yep.
them.
Yep.
Yeah.
There it
And
is.
so you have to be able to find that. And then I think the other unfair part is when you do forget to go get dinner, forget where you were supposed to meet them at that day, they
Mhm.
attack you with it
Yes.
versus
Yes.
understanding they're under a lot of stress. I'm going to give them this win right now and go handle it versus coming at them and attacking
Yeah.
them because
Yeah.
they forgot.
Yeah.
Or and
Yeah.
then that's when the always and the never
Yep.
comes in and it
Yep.
makes the situation even worse. And it's
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm about to walk up out of this always and never because you keep forgetting that, okay, it may be a couple of months ago, but it wasn't an always. I did do XYZ. Why do I have to keep
Yeah.
reminding you
Yeah.
that I did XYZ? Because I'm having this moment.
Yeah. And
And
I learned this term this last year. It's called un, unintentional inconsistency, where you
mm,
where you let's say you starting a business or you're doing something that's occupying that space and
right,
you forget sometimes because you're focused on making more money for the family or whatever, and it's
right,
not intentional that you forgot, but your partner thinks it is,
right.
right? There was this I'm sorry, this TikTok where it was a little boy and his sister was on the bed and they was arguing like they was adults. And she was like, he fell asleep, right? He was supposed to wake up and do something for his sister and he fell asleep. His body just so he was like, I didn't mean to fall asleep. My body just put he this little boy's voice. He was like, my body just made me sleep. And she was like, no, you just didn't want to get up. And he was
Right,
like, but I do stuff for you. And she was like, yeah, but today you just chose not to get up. And he was like, but I fell asleep. Like, what's the crime? And she was just like, no, you meant to do it. And he was like, how? And she just ran out the room crying. And now he had to go fix it. Right.
right,
So it was real adult. But I was like, sometimes things happen, but you can't put my whole body of work against those couple of times because now we're gonna have a
Yeah.
problem. I had this problem at work too a couple of times. I had to shut some folks down because they was like, you never, that's never and always.
that's a trigger. What you mean?
Ooh. My boss did that in front of a whole conference room of people, and I was like, hold on, what we not gonna do? And he had his little voice elevated. I'm the tone police too, and I was like,
Right,
one of us is up here and one of us is down here. And
I
I'm
like
not the
that.
one up here. You're gonna have to come down because you're not gonna do this in front of these people. I've been here 20 years. Never,
Yeah.
I'd have been fired.
Exactly.
Don't do that. And because I'm like this. You're not gonna make me match your throat shaking and doing that. I'm not doing that.
Hmm.
I'm gonna bring you down here so that we can talk. And even if I'm reading you, it's gonna sound just like this.
Right.
Because what you're not gonna do in that environment is have them people say, "Look at that angry dude. He was yelling." They're gonna come for me.
Yeah.
Right. Oh
uh-uh.
God, that was so good.
Very, 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 very
That's
That
why
good.
was
on my
so good.
lives, I don't invite the debates because ain't nobody gonna screenshot me angry and yelling and going back. You're not gonna screen record. You gonna be like, see, this is what the coach. You ain't gonna never catch me like that. I control
Right.
my environment. I might go to somebody else's that I trust to be in those boxes, but I don't you'll never catch that. I don't do anger well.
You
It don't,
control your emotions,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
big
That's
part.
why I'm the emotional intelligence coach.
Hmm. That's
All
awesome.
good stuff. Man, listen,
That is
Derek, you
so
have
good.
been, oh, absolutely. You have been very, very, very helpful. I know for me, and a lot of things that I need to do a self-evaluation on, there's some
Mm.
things that I know that I can do better. Joy, I don't know how you feel about it, but
I,
what do you think? I know
I
your
can't
mind is
think.
blown.
It's blown because it makes sense and it
Oh
helps
yeah.
put things in the words that you struggle with. And I
Yeah.
think that's the big part. That's a big takeaway. And the fact that making that love language, because that safety, that resonated. It really did, because you never
Yeah.
thought that because it was lacked, you had that non-truth barrier,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you wasn't able to be free because you didn't feel safe.
yep,
Yeah.
And it's like, and hey, yeah, I definitely got to implement that, because
Yeah.
it's you want that successful relationship. And overall, when your relationship is good, but it can always be better, because it's
Yeah.
like, if we can master that,
yeah,
not master the other person, but master that, and then just understanding, like, just because I forgot today doesn't mean I never remembered anything else.
yeah,
And that's a
yeah,
big thing. And like you said, that trigger word, that always and never, those are
yeah,
fighting words to me,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
now I got to find everything I did. And, just like the Bible tells us, love keeps no record of wrongs, and you have to, like, why do I have to keep reminding you where I loved you?
yeah, yeah,
And why do you have to keep reminding me where I didn't love you?
yeah.
That's not fair.
That.
That's not love. That's absolutely not love.
But you know what else happens through that? What you just said.
Hmm.
That person a lot of times is doing that because your inaction, even if it's just one or two times, is a trigger for them for something that may have happened to them in the past, and they're and
And
they're
they need a
putting you in that
therapist.
space. Yeah, 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 yeah,
And that's even
Listen.
in friendships. You need a
Yeah.
therapist, because
Oh,
I didn't do
absolutely.
that. I
yep,
had a friend, and we're good friends now. I mean, and I'm with my friends, we don't have to talk every day, because I'm not, sometimes I just need to go quiet. And I know we've already passed our hour, because I see my
You
fat
good?
face.
You-
But one thing, but because something was said, and they thought I said it. And instead
mhm,
of them coming to ask me, they was mad at me for 2 years.
yeah,
And when I brought it, I said, well, why haven't you talked to me in 2 years when we used to talk like every day? They was like, well, such and such said. I said, I never said that. And they went and asked the person who was in their house. And they was like, didn't you tell me Jay said such and such? And they was like, no, I didn't tell you that. I said, so you've been mad at me for 2 years for something that you didn't even have the decency to come to me and say, we have a problem. And in friendships, we got to realize, like, no, you should be able. Mm-mm, absolutely not. Now it's
yeah.
easier to get rid of that friendship than it is a relationship sometimes. But either way it go, both can get cut.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
But
Well,
that's so
I'll be honest.
amazing. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I'll be honest. The one part that I know that has served me in my marriage is, and we got this information through counseling, and you mentioned it as well, Derek. Uh, when there's something that's heated between myself and my wife, we ask one another, is this a safe place? Is this a safe time to discuss the
Hmm.
things that just happened? Right. And so we're setting the foundation, right? That's why I kind of wanted to get, that aspect and some other tools or whatever. But that has really changed the way that we have conversation, especially if there's conflict, or tension there. right? So I really appreciate you, Derek, for taking out the time on this beautiful Saturday night, and helping us kind of coach us through, this Love Month, as well as Black History Month. Shout out to Black History. uh and providing us those tools that we can help take away and utilize in our marriages and our relationships, and as we continue to develop and grow as young adults and adults. You have been very, very, very helpful, so we really
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
you.
I
Can
appreciate
I
you
say
guys for
one
having me
thing?
too. Go
I
ahead.
want to get your opinion on something. It was something
Mhm.
that Keisha just said. When you have to ask your partner, well, how do you want me to show up right now? Because we didn't hit it, but if you could close out with this and your perspective on it. I know in my relationship, well, not just my relationship, my everyday is all about problem solving. You're
Mhm.
bringing it to me to solve it,
Yeah.
and that caused a lot of conflict because I'm coming up with a problem while we still talking about it. I just gave you
Yeah.
the answer. And my partner, my wife had to tell me, well, that's not what I needed. I needed
Mhm.
you to, and I'm like, well, then you should have brought it to me. I'm not that person. You
Yeah.
bring it to me, I figured it out 5 minutes into the conversation. Let's move on. And so in those type situations, is that a healthy place? Would you consider that a healthy place? Say, okay, how do you want me to show up right now? Do you want me to solve it? Do you want me to listen?
It's healthy to do it, and it's essential to do it, but you're going to need to have a discussion about the fact that you're going to be doing it, right? Like
Okay.
they need to know that, yeah, you got to tell them like, hey, the last time we kind of got into a little thing because I was trying to solve it and you didn't want me to. So
Hmm.
from now on, if you'll allow me, I want to ask you first before we even go into it so that I'm not giving you something that you don't need, right? And that falls under two. We didn't get to it tonight, and y'all gonna have to have me back too one day. One day
Oh,
is
for
Absolutely.
sure.
It
For
ain't gonna be
sure.
no
we
one
didn't
day
get
because
into the
Valentine's
emotional,
coming
yeah.
up.
We didn't get into the emotional intelligence space, and I know you at time, right? But this falls under that, like understanding and having empathy for from where they're coming from. That goes into that. So like you're like me, right? You want to solve it and be done with it and keep it moving, right?
Hmm.
But we always end up with people who are not like that. So there's this space in the middle where we gotta figure it out together. We gotta figure it out together. It's tough though because it's like it's the core. That's why I'm an engineer. I analyze, I
Hmm.
solve, and
Exactly.
so
Like,
when we
what's the
have an
problem?
argument, we need to figure this out. And she likes to take time to step away.
I,
That's why I was
I
talking
don't
about it
have it.
earlier.
I don't
This
have
is
it. Yeah.
so once we figured out and we had the discussion, this is how I am. This is who you are. We need to figure out how we not gonna keep hurting each other because that running be driving me crazy. And she's like,
Listen.
I had to read up on this because it was real serious for a while. And it was like a lot of people who need this, it's more than just them leaving. It's the physiological stuff that be building up in them that's physical that has to calm down. Once I
Right.
Ah,
realized that, and I was like, it's not about me, then I was like, okay, let me breathe. And that I'm gonna have to be okay. I'll be in the corner like this, but I'm
Hmm.
not engaging, I'm not chasing anymore. I know that you need it. So and when I started doing that, then her time lessened. So now we can
Okay.
come in the middle because most of the time she needed was because I was chasing her and making it get worse.
ah.
Right.
so
I get
so when
that.
I stopped doing that, then the time lesson, she realized now that she knew I was struggling. So she was like, I can't stay away too long because I know he's going through something too. Now let's do and the communication and everything just changed from that point. It was just like, whew, I get it now.
Mm.
It took years for me to
It's a
get it,
process.
but because we had a strong foundation, it didn't break us because it could easily break a couple when you consistently fighting and hurting and running and pushing and pulling. You don't even start to see them as a person you love anymore. If the foundation ain't strong, you're
They
gonna be
just there.
enemy combatant, roommate. So, anyway, I'm done. I'm done. I know y'all like
That was so good.
Oh
Oh
man,
my God.
listen. Yes, it was. Again, I really appreciate you, Derek. We've got to have you back. I'll work with you on your schedule, and we'll figure out
Mhm.
when that's a good time.
Yep.
Uh, if no one has anything else to say, I want to wish all of our listeners again a happy Black History Month. Valentine's Day is coming up, so if you have somebody that you want to get something for, make sure you do that in a timely manner. And as always, please keep a regal mindset, and we look forward to talking to you guys next week. All right, that's it.
All right.
Let me find the end button. Hold on. There's my mom. There we
Oh, you
go.
still live when you said that.
Yeah.